Well, good morning. I'm Brent Adams here with your Rural Strong Morning Ag Report for this Thursday, September 7th, the 250th day of 2023. With the 2023 harvest approaching, if not here already for some, next year's crop is likely also on the minds of U.S. farmers. Jackie Holland is a grain market analyst with Farm Futures and says the acreage battle between corn and soybeans might not be as intense next spring.
Our farmers indicated that maybe it's not going to be quite as contentious of a battle as we've tried to forecast in previous years. Our farmers indicated they were looking to plant 93.1 million acres of corn and 85.4 million acres of soybeans. For those of you keeping track with USDA's latest acreage estimate, that's about a 1% decrease from 2023 corn acres, but a 2% increase from the soybean acreage that was planted this year.
She talks about some of the factors that may be causing some acreage shuffling in 2024.
So I think the big driver here really comes down to looking at the fertilizer side. Fertilizer prices have come down, but they're still high relative to historical levels. And there is a little bit more of a risk that we're going to see phosphate and potassium prices remain high headed into next year. So it kind of limits the outside market incentives that would be pulling acres one way or the other.
Holland also talks about 2024 wheat planting intentions.
We're expecting to see a 5% increase in winter wheat acreage planted this fall for harvest next year, and then about an 8% increase in spring wheat acres planted next spring. And I think a lot of that story is derived very much from the dynamics we're dealing with today. That spring wheat crop got hit with a lot of heat and dryness here as it was heading and really hasn't had a whole lot of rain relief.
Even with a bigger winter wheat acreage expected, it will still be the ninth smallest winter wheat area sown in the U.S. Again, that's Jackie Holland with Farm Futures. Well, giving back to a community that buys and supports your pork operation is part of the industry's We Care ethical principles. Iowa producer Kevin Rasmussen says volunteering is a chance to talk about farming with consumers.
Talk to people that are maybe once removed from the farm, and they have ideas and they have perceptions of what it used to be like, and they really like to touch base with a producer and understand what new and modern pork production sounds like and looks like.
He says it's very important to be that link to modern pork production, where real pork, the industry's trust and image brand, represents real farmers.
It's about putting a real face, putting real people with a real product. They need to understand this is not a corporate world that's raising these pigs. It takes people, it takes human bodies to take care of live animals. You can't do it with machines. You have to give the personal touch, and it's fun to tell our stories.
Using an example of a man holding a pork chop in the Iowa State Fair pig barn last month, Rasmussen told the gentleman he helps raise that nutritious and safe protein source for consumers just like him. He advises producers to cater to their audience when talking with consumers.
If it's young people, you need to talk about the pigs and about their juvenile life and that they grew up and get big. And they do smell. There's no getting around it. You need to tell them that they smell, but just show them the real life. Pork producers are a very real people producing a real product.
Every pig farmer has a volunteer opportunity and are encouraged to connect with their local, state, or national organizations to identify how their leadership and volunteerism can help make a difference in their communities and industry. Well, longtime Iowa Senator Chuck Grassley is starting to get impatient about the farm bill, saying that the text for a Senate draft should have been out during the long August recess.
The chair and ranking member of the Senate Ag Committee were supposed to put pen to paper during the August work period.
That it's harder to get a farm bill done this year amid deep partisan differences, especially in the House, over food stamps and more, even as the two parties try to avoid an October 1st government shutdown over the spending bills.
I think we were told in July that there was going to be a lot of hard work done to work out differences in the August recess. Presumably that has not happened.
During which Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer frets other priorities will linger.
So I plead with House Republican leadership to follow the Senate's lead and pass bipartisan Democrat and Republican appropriation bills.
But if there is a shutdown, even a partial one, Grassley's even less hopeful for a farm bill this year.
From advancing a farm bill to kids' online privacy to reauthorizing the FAA.
Leaving Grassley to ask Ag Chair Debbie Stabenow and Ag Ranking Republican John Bozeman.
If Congress isn't meeting on a regular basis during a shutdown, and we can meet and probably should be meeting every day, 24 hours a day until we get it solved. But you're talking about 4 time, and we need a text first to get it through committee before we even worry about that.
A question Grassley says will tell him just how serious they are about getting a farm bill done this year.
We're going to have a 1-year extension of the farm bill.
Well, the National Corn Growers Association applauds Senators Debbie Stabenow and John Bozeman for sending a letter to the USDA on increasing market development opportunities. The Senate Ag Committee leaders want the agency to allocate funding from the Commodity Credit Corporation to support creating new and better market opportunities for farmers, as well as in-kind international food assistance. Says National Corn Growers Association President Tom Haig, cultivating new foreign markets is one of our top priorities. Farm Bill trade promotion programs help address the need to build new markets. We believe that the resources available under the CCC can support similar efforts to open access markets and promote American-grown products overseas. The CCC funds are used by government to implement specific programs established by or to carry out activities under the CCC Charter Act. The National Corn Growers Association has called on Congress to increase investments in these programs. Also this morning, the American Farm Bureau Federation Chief Economist Roger Cryan testified at the ongoing federal milk marketing order pricing formula hearing. Farm Bureau membership includes cooperatives and independent dairy farmers, most of whom are directly or indirectly affected by pricing provisions in the federal milk marketing orders. Farm Bureau's testimony focused on the reduction or elimination of negative producer price differentials and the depooling they cause. An orderly pool is the key to orderly marketing and the continued benefits of the federal milk marketing orders for farmers, cooperatives, processors, and consumers. The key to an orderly pool is the proper alignment of the 4-class prices. Other proposals include supporting the National Milk Producers Federation's suggestion to drop barrel cheese from Class 3 component and price calculations. The American Farm Bureau Federation also proposes that 640-pound blocks get added to the National Dairy Sales Report, to the cheddar cheese price calculation, and to the Class 3 protein calculation. And finally this morning, the United States Department of Agriculture is wrapping up data collection for a key upcoming crop production forecast. More from USDA Radio's Gary Crawford.
How big, or maybe how little, will this season's spring-planted crops turn out to be? We'll have a very good idea about that in just a few days when USDA's National Ag Statistics Service, NASS, releases its September crop report. Now, last month, USDA based its yield and production forecast mostly on results of a survey of farmers.
We will repeat that in September. We'll have about 7,000 folks that we reach out to collect their forecast of what they expect their yields to be.
But Lance Honig with NASS says this month USDA is drilling down a lot deeper.
We're actually sending trained enumerators into selected fields.
They're scouting about 3,000 field segments,
Where they're taking counts, measurements.
and in some cases harvesting the crops and sending them to a lab for yield analysis. All of that information plus satellite data and a new look at acreage should produce a very good picture of this season's crops. USDA's report to be released this coming Tuesday. Gary Crawford for the U.S. Department of Agriculture.
Well, for more in-depth weekly ag news, please subscribe to the Tractors and Troubadours podcast from Rural Strong Media. Each week, we bring you agriculture industry newsmakers, hot-button industry issues, educational features, and the best in traditional country music. The Tractors and Troubadours podcast can be found at ruralstrongmedia.com or wherever you get your podcasts. We also invite you to join us each day on Rural Strong Radio, our 24/7 streaming radio station, playing ag programming as well as the best in traditional country music with a little western swing, bluegrass, southern rock, and inspirational music. The place to find that is ruralstrongmedia.com or the Live 365 mobile app for your streaming devices. We're portable, so take us with you wherever you go. You're going to be spending a lot of long, tough hours in the field this harvest season, and we'd love to keep you company. We'll be back again tomorrow for another Rural Strong Morning Ag Report right here on Steve Shetler Media. Have a great day, everybody.